Little mid-debate analysis for you guys. Bernie Sanders gets the first applause line of the night when he says, we can't be the only developed country in the world that does not guarantee health care as a right to its citizens. And a very somber crowd all night finally goes, yeah, wait a minute. Why aren't we as developed as other countries? Why don't we guarantee that right so that we don't die? I mean, we're talking about security, right? And, you know, John made a point earlier in our live coverage where he said nothing affects our security as much as climate change and some of the other issues that Bernie Sanders brought up. So terrorism is horrible, but the chance of dying in a terrorist strike is far less.
Yeah.
I mean, when you extend that to healthcare, healthcare is so much more vital to our security. If that's what you care about, well, then we should make sure that everyone is secure in getting some degree of insurance. So that's what Bernie Sanders pointed out.
Yeah, thankfully, during this portion of the debate, they're a little more specific about their policy ideas. I think Sanders was pretty specific when it came to foreign policy as well. But I love that he's mentioning the issue of cost control. Look, the Affordable Care Act is good in some ways, but there are huge, huge downfalls, and I like that they're calling that out. There are no cost controls, right? Like premiums are supposed to stay down, it's supposed to be more affordable. It's not more affordable. I know from firsthand experience. So
that's super interesting. Can I just jump in for real quick, John? That we had said on the show that we were concerned about the Affordable Care Act because it wasn't going to be affordable. We said we supported the other portions of the bill, but we were worried that they were going to let the pharmaceutical companies write their own, bills. Well, we know that Medicare can't negotiate, right? And then we were also concerned that we handed it off to the private market without any decent checks on them.
Yes.
And it turns out, for a while they kept costs low. But now that it has passed every Supreme Court challenge, interesting timing, all of a sudden they go, oh, now we'll raise all your rates.
Yes.
Right now, it's not the government doing it. It's the private companies that are doing it. It's the government's fault that they didn't put a check on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's certainly a flaw in the bill, but we have to acknowledge that the costs could very well be much higher if we hadn't passed it. It's not like they began going up after we passed
John,
the ACA. The prices have been going up for years and years and years before that.
But we don't disagree with that. What we were saying is that we were hoping the ACA, either through a public option, obviously single payer,
of course, but when we talk about it,
would have been a better way to keep costs
I
under control.
agree, but when we talk about it, we have to be very clear that we're not saying that the ACA caused price increases. It didn't cause price increases. The prices were already there.
It didn't help,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes,
and
of
I
course.
think it actually makes it worse because if you're forced into buying insurance, if there's a federal mandate, then the insurance companies get exactly what they want.
It's interesting that the insurance companies did not raise their rates or run any ad against the Affordable Care Act until it cleared all hurdles, okay? It cleared all the legislative hurdles and it cleared all the Supreme Court challenges. Then they were like, okay. So it means that they were in favor of it.
Yeah, of
right?
course
They
they
weren't
were.
fighting it because they knew that when this time came, they could raise the rates that they want. Look, there are good parts. More people are covered. Pre-existing conditions are covered. They're very, very good parts. But this is a very legitimate criticism. It's good to see at least someone taking that on within the Democratic primaries. All right, let's go back to the debate.